What's going on, Internet? Selfish here with Retrospect. GameMT launched the E6 here a couple of months ago. It's an Android-based handheld that looks like a little Steam Deck. And in typical Chinese handheld fashion, now they've come out with the E6 Plus. This is a beefier version that actually has some more features in it that should allow us to emulate a lot more. And today we're going to find out if it really does. Let's take a look. Today here we're just going to do a quick unboxing video of the E6 Plus, which is this new handheld from GameMT to replace the E6, which oddly enough, they were both actually advertised together. When the E6 came out, on the posting for the E6 actually had the specs for the E6 Plus as well, and a comparison. So kind of a weird way to market it, so we already knew this was coming. So we assumed that this was going to be considerably more money than the E6, but apples to apples, this is only about $10 to $20 more, and this is definitely a more powerful handheld, and comes with some more features that we're going to try out today. If we get lucky. Well, that's already nicer. So we have this nice little card in here. Pretty cool. Should we just leave it there so they get some free advertising? I'm just kidding. But no, it's just something extra. And I'm guessing this is just to hold and keep the screen and everything from getting scratched up. We also have our USB cable. We have a set of headphones. I'm sure these are really high quality. We do have that sweet plastic piece that comes in these really nice high quality handhelds. A screen cover, which is pretty cool, though no wipes, which is kind of unfortunate. So it's going to be difficult to put on there. Well, I probably have some wipes around here. And some accordion style scratch paper, so that's pretty cool. The shell of the machine is subject to the material object, if you say so. The software upgrade of the machine is subject to the material object. What is the material object? The machine itself. This here has some information on, your button placement and things like that. But we're going to go over that anyways, so I don't want this to spoil all my fun going through the I.O., because then what do you guys need me for? Alright, we're going to take a look, see what it looks like. Very nice. So I actually tried to get this color on the E6. They did make it, but I believe they only made one batch of it, and it never came out again. So on the E6 Plus, I gambled to see if I could get this thing in the colors that I was trying to get on the E6, and lo and behold, I actually ordered the E6 3 different times that I didn't receive it. I'm trying to see if there's a difference here, but they're pretty much the same. 3 different times that I'd ordered this, I'd never received it, and I actually ordered green, I think, all 3 times, but I got a white one in the end. So, I mean, whatever. It is what it is, but I was never able to test this because it never actually stayed running very long. It kept rebooting on me, and so then I reloaded the software, also the screen blotched out for some reason, and that fixed some of the blotching issues on the screen, not all of them, and then it just kept rebooting still. So I don't know what was wrong with this. I don't know if it had a bad hard drive. I really don't know. But now we have the E6 Plus, which is a pretty sweet little handheld. So we'll go through the I.O. here real quick, since I never did on the other one, because I haven't released that video. Right here on the top, we do have our shoulder buttons. We have L2, R2. These are stacked, which is really nice. We do have our power button and our volume. These are all just on switches. We have 2 TF1 card holes, but one says internal and one says external. So instead of being card 1 and card 2, and then they usually do internal and external, these are both card 1. I don't know why. The reason for the card is the Linux operating system is on card 1, the internal card. So if you have this and you take out that card, you'll be booting into Android, and we'll touch base on that here real quick. You do have 2 C holes, and you do have an HDMI hole along with your 3.5 hole. So lots going on up here, and then some ventilation. This does have active cooling, so that ventilation there is for the active cooling. All right, we're going to go to the right side over here. Nothing. And to the left side. Nothing. And to the bottom. Nothing. Boy, she's got some good curves though, doesn't it? And then the back here, we really have just a couple of things. We do have our speaker holes, and then we do have that ventilation for the active cooling on here. I wonder if we'll get to hear that kick on, or if it really is active cooling, if it's not just a pass-through. But some companies call pass-through cooling active cooling, so it's possible there's not actually a fan in here, but I would imagine that there probably should be the way it's advertised. We'll find out. On the front here, we do have our 2 Joy-Con style sticks. They do call them Hall sticks. They have very, very little travel. I mean, this is almost a slider. So there are Hall sliders out there, and these definitely could be Hall sticks, but these are really short and have very little travel. I'm guessing they tried to make this pocketable for some reason, even though they made it look like a Steam Deck, but they want to make it pocketable? I don't know. We do have, let's go with our face buttons here real quick. One thing about these is they're bouncy. So these are all connected, obviously. And so this might need to be something that we need to open it up and cut these apart, because right now, if you can, I don't know if you can see that on the screen. Let's see if I can get it to... You hit one though, and pretty much all of them move. It doesn't matter which one you hit. So that's going to be either be annoying, or it's going to be kind of brutal when you're trying to go through things, because it's going to multi-select. You're also going to have that same problem over here with the D-pad. This is actually only a 4-way conductive rubber switch on a 6 to 8-way button. So this is obviously nothing like Sega had made. But people are going to come into this, I think, thinking that this is going to be like a Sega Switch, and this will be nothing like what Sega had to offer. I don't know. I'm trying to see what the differences are between the two. I don't know if they made a change here, but it actually feels better on the new one. So hopefully that is something that they did upgrade. And then we do have our menu button and our start and select, and these are all just little micro switches. So we'll get her powered on here real quick, and while we're doing that, I will go through a couple of specs on the device. It should be booting into Linux, fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. It is running an emulation station front end, but you do have Android 11 as well as Linux. This is running a RK3566. We've seen this SoC a million times, so we're really familiar with it. This one here is supposed to have 2 gigs of RAM in it, which is pretty good for a 3566. That should put it above and beyond some of the other devices we have tested. As far as that SoC goes, it does have a 5-inch IPS touchscreen. The old one was not a touchscreen. Refresh rate 60 and 100 hertz, so I don't know where that 100 hertz comes in on this, but we may find out. Alright, so we do have noise on our load screen. Pretty cool. Yeah, I already went over, it's supposed to have Hall joysticks, advanced cooling. They're actually calling it advanced cooling, so maybe it's not active cooling. So that might be just pass-through cooling. And we did the HDMI. It does have screencasting and controller support. It does have Wi-Fi. It has a 5,000 milliamp battery. And obviously the 2 Type-Cs. One is going to be your OTG, and then the other C-hole is going to be for your charging. It's still rated at 5 volts, 2 amps, but they do make it sound like you're actually going to be able to use a bigger charger on it. I haven't tried it yet, but we'll probably give it a shot here when I make the actual review video. This is going to be your first look, nothing crazy. So as we go through here, we're just seeing the regular emulation station front end. I don't know if we have an options area here so we can see what else is on here. Options is not an option, really? Well, as these emulation station front ends work, you hit the start button, we can actually get in here into our menu system, and this will give us the ability to make any kind of changes, including hooking up to our network, because we do have, again, Wi-Fi on here. Bluetooth is for the controllers, and everything else kind of works mainly how we would see on any of these other devices that are set up this way. This should be able to run some PSP and some Dreamcast, obviously N64, PS1, stuff like that. So we're going to skip some of these under systems. I don't want to do a ton of testing tonight either. Oh, look at that. We're getting false inputs on this already. It's bouncing back and forth. Yep, there it goes. So it's a false input problem that you get with these because it's only a 4-way conductive rubber, so sometimes it'll hit one of the other ones. It seems like I got myself in a rhythm where oh, there we go, skipped all the way back where I was making it. But is it really Pico 8 on here? Well, there's a Explore folder. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to test out a PS1 game. We'll try a PSP game maybe. Then we'll jump over to Android. We'll see what we can do on the Android side. But it'd be kind of cool to see. You're usually going to get some better like N64 and PSP on the Android side. Sometimes even Dreamcast. Dreamcast's kind of a crapshoot. Depending on the game, it may be better on Android or it might be better on Linux, so we can find out that as we go. Actually, you know what? We'll try a Dreamcast game on this side and just see how it does. We have 4 choices here, so that's pretty awesome. There is 37,000 games on here apparently, but they're not, obviously not in Dreamcast. I guess we'll do some crazy taxi and see what happens. So I'm not exactly sure how these controls are set up, but I just tried to go in to see what we can do, if there's a RetroArch backend we can use, or if it's running a standalone emulator. When I selected it, it exited me out of the game. That's okay. Gas is on what? Oh, we're in reverse. That's why. Okay. Let's see how she goes. Yeah, oh yeah, that's what I was trying to do. So I wanted to set up a frame counter. So I try it. It hit A before and exited me out. No, B. B exited me out. Cool. So that's not the right button. I'm wondering if the controls are a little jacked up on here, because it seems to think that B is my, I don't know, we'll see. Alright, this is exiting me out 5 times now. So we are going to just try this and see how it works, and then at the end here, in just a second here, we will try to, wow, I can't talk today. In just a second here, we will actually try to hit the menu button again. If it exits me out, then it exits me out, but then I don't have to worry about trying to get back in again, because, yeah, it's like 4 or 5 times now it's exited me out, and so I'm just getting a little annoyed. I can't actually get in the menu, which is kind of crazy. There's my jump button. Then I didn't use it. Alright, so we're going to hit the menu here and see what happens. So we're in... Okay, so now it's not even going into the menu. What if it's select X? Ah, select X works. Okay, so just don't use the menu button, I guess. Select X. That's going to be your RetroArch settings on here. So what was I trying to do? I did try to set up achievements. Let's see if they stayed in here. They did, but they didn't stay on. So the settings stayed, but they turned off. It's a RetroArch problem. There's something wrong with the core in here for the RetroArch. Okay, well, that's something that I can figure out at another time. Let's try a PlayStation game out real quick. So we're just over here waiting for Tekken to load. Oh, there it goes. Whew. That took a while. Alright, let's see what this thing's all about. I don't think that this is going to do me a lot of justice. Oh, it rotates a little bit. No, it's not too bad. What is our... Okay. What is our... Oh. Where's our frame rate at? I set up frame rates. Where'd they go? User interface, on-screen display, on-screen notifications, visibility, frame rate. Why did that turn off? Okay, well, apparently nothing stays in RetroArch, but my settings are all the same once I go back to them, so I don't know what that's all about. So running about between 40 and 50 FPS. It's not staying real constant. Well, now it's kind of constant. No, they're at 60. Yeah, it's bouncing all over the place. It actually doesn't, I don't know, we'll see. I'll play a full round here. It didn't seem like it was that hard to play. I mean, once you get into it, it seems like it stays pretty steady. It's the up until you get into it part of it that's not real steady. So it's not terrible. It's doable. This thing is not great. I bet you I could do it better with, let's see if I can do it better with the joystick. I came to the realization recently, and I don't think I said anything about it in a video, but I actually learned how to play these games at an arcade, which you would be, and I've never been good at fighting games, but you were using a joystick then too. It just happened to be a bigger joystick, but it's not like we were using a D-pad in the arcade. Ah. I don't know if it made it any better or worse. I think it was about a draw. Alright, let's go try, actually, you know what, let's try PSP out, because then we can do a comparison. So what we're going to do is we'll go and do some God of War, because that's kind of the big one, right? If it's on here, we'll do some God of War. Uh-oh. What? I have no idea what's happening right now. Oh good, is that favorites that I'd never said? What's happening? Okay. Oh boy. Well, that was cool. So there's 2 favorites set on this machine already. So whoever set this up liked either wanted to make sure that God of War worked, which they didn't do a very good job of. They might want to fix that. Invalid memory access. Interesting. Well, we're not going to get out of this. Alright, let me work on getting this thing rebooted or turned off, and then we will boot into Android, I guess, now that we're stuck here. So I just had to hold down that power button for a while to get it to turn off. There's nothing else I could do. Even when that whole process finished running, it didn't have anything on there. So now we just need to figure out which one's internal, since they're both number 1. So this one's internal, the other one's got our games on it. The internal's running off an 8 gig card. Oh, good manufacturer though. It's made by Micro HC, so that's high class. Alright, hit this power button here real quick. One thing I did notice while I was sitting there screwing around trying to get out of that thing though is these buttons aren't the same height. It's driving me nuts now. Your start and select button, the start button's more flush. The select button sticks up a little bit more. I don't know. Probably not important, but it's gonna drive me nuts. Oh yeah, we can take this off now. Ready for it? Uh-oh. Well, that was satisfying for me, probably not for you, but that's okay. I probably should have that screen cover ready to put on right away, since I don't have a wipe. Well, too late. There's a little gunk underneath the screen. I'm sure it's just glue from when they put that on, but... Oh, good. So these actually really don't have true Android. So this is supposed to be, I think, Android 11, and... So it comes loaded with Play Store, YouTube, and a camera, and this device isn't certified with Android, so you can't actually use the Play Store. And I don't know if anybody else has tried this yet to try to use the Play Store, but it does not work. So I screwed around with it, and there's nothing you can do with it. It does have some other stuff. What I did do is I went and I just downloaded the APK off the internet for PPSSPP, so we can try to see if God of War works on here. But other than that, you have nothing in here. So if you go to calibration, you can't calibrate anything. There's nothing to calibrate. Oh, it just kicks me out when I use the sticks. Is that really what happened? Okay, so yeah, so there's nothing. You can't calibrate anything. Also, you have some pretty good light bleed when you're in here. I don't know if that's the case everywhere, but I mean, it is a kind of a budget handheld, but there is a lot of light bleed around the outside edge here, which I haven't noticed anywhere else, so it might just be something with that. Why am I on a calendar? Oh, because I clicked on it, apparently. So yeah, so I downloaded PPSSPP. I tried to go into the App Store. Now it won't stop sending me these alerts, these warnings. And also, there is a serial issue. So when you get this serial issue, it's either a port issue as far as it's like a back-end port number that they were using to program this device with, or it could be one of these C-holes has something wrong with it. More often than not, though, it's going to be a port problem where they didn't close the port, and so you'd have to recompile Android. So I'll probably never get rid of this issue, which is performance impacting. So I'm probably just going to be stuck with it like this. But the good news is Android didn't work on this, and there really wasn't another option because this had the newer screen or whatever. It was the second edition of it. The custom firmware that was coming out for it wasn't working on it. So at least with this, I have the Linux side. We know that works just fine. Other than the fact that for some reason it can't play God of War. Oh yeah, that's right. We were going to try that out here. So we're going to try playing God of War. I did load up my library on here so that I could just jump in. So we'll jump into some God of War and just see what happens. This is a 3566 without upscaling it. It shouldn't have any problem playing God of War with a frame skip of like 1 or 2 on. That's kind of where it usually kind of falls in there. So we'll give it a shot, see what happens. And these speakers get really loud. They're not bassy at all. So I don't know where the Dolby Atmos comes in, except for a lot of Dolby stuff isn't real bassy. But let's see if this is going to blow my ears off. Oh, wow. That is, nope, let's not do that. Okay, that was bad. And also the volume and the volume buttons are backward, like they are in a lot of Powkiddy devices, so I keep going the wrong way when I'm trying to turn up or down the volume. And I'm assuming that I can probably go to Emulation Station and reverse it. Because of the Powkiddys, they've actually added that option on a lot of these, so it's probably in there. So here's where we're at. We're running about between 14 and 17 FPS most of the time here. We're at 15 right now. Oh, got 18 there. But it's not doing so good. And now we do have a frame skip on. We are running a Vulkan backend, and yeah, it's not real great. I don't think I could play God of War this way, so we're going to try another game out and just see if it's, because God of War is just traditionally just really hard to run on these things, but on Android it should be way easier than it would have been on Linux, but we got that error on Linux, so I don't know if it's just this copy of God of War. Again, this is just a first impression. When I actually do my review, I'll put my own ROMs on here. We're going to figure it out and see what does and doesn't work on this handheld. We'll do another game here real quick and just see what happens. Okay, so we got some Tekken 5 going on right now. If you only want to do one move, this D-pad disc thing works great, but if you want to do anything else, I feel like I'm stuck in it. Like you get stuck in almost a rut and it's just pulling me through it. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Yay! So what I got running on here is we're doing Vulkan backend again. We got VSync, and then we also do have our auto frame skip on with a frame skip of 1, and this is the best I've gotten it to work. I tried a whole bunch of some of the other kind of hacks you can kind of do on the back end. Wasn't able to get really any of it to really do what I needed it to do. So this is the best you're going to get it to run, I think, as far as Tekken goes here on PSP, and it's not stable, but it doesn't seem like it drops really below 25. And you'd really like to see it stay at least 30, right? But yeah, I think if we brought the frame skip up, it might slow down. And here we're not really hearing any audio issues with the frame skip either, so my uppercut almost got her, so it's not terrible. I mean, this is playable, I think. I think I can play it. If it's between 25 and 30, I can easily play it. So this whole thing is just blowing my mind that they, I mean, if you think about like what Ambernick used to do, they used to just send you these like bare bones versions of Android. It doesn't get any more bare bones. I mean, like this is just killing me. Like the joystick calibrator, there's nothing there. What is this all about? Why is this even an option? And then you go in the Play Store. Oh, we'll just go back to the desktop and do it. Go to the Play Store. It's going to give me an error, but I'm not going to see... I turned off the alerts. I had turned off the notifications because of so many notifications coming through. So I actually turned them off. So now it's just not going to let me sign in, I don't think. We'll see what happens. But now this does have the ability to do over-the-air updates. So there may be an update. So yeah, so this is not certified. So you can't actually use anything in the Play Store. The good thing is with Android and emulation, though, all the emulators are available at APKs. It's just a pain in the ass to go find them. So that part kind of sucks. I did try to learn more to see if my device is certified, and this does not come up as a certified device. Now, I don't know exactly what device this is when I'm looking that up, so I could be wrong, and it may be a certified device that I'm just not finding on there. I wonder if YouTube works. Just curious now that after it should sign in. I just won't be able to use my account. Nope, because I'm online, so YouTube doesn't work either. I assumed I was going to be able to go in and just not be able to sign into my YouTube account. But apparently, you just don't even have the option to watch it. And there's not really a game mode or anything like that on here, but it seems to think that because of that serial console issue. So the performance is already being impacted on top of that. I don't know. It's an interesting device. I could say this. I can do more on this right here than I was ever able to do on my original E6. And so I have a starting point, a jump off point here where I have at least a base of things that kind of work. So I think that we can do something with this. It'd be cool if Gamma actually made like Gamma OS for this. I don't know if he was working on it for the E6 or not, but Gamma OS would be great on this because it would just free it up so much having that lineage on there. That would be pretty darn cool. And that would also take care of all your registration problems and stuff like that, and you'd have much faster access to everything. You can even make like the menu button if you wanted to, your home button, things like that, so it just brings you back home. And then you can build in, you know, Emulation Station or Daijishu or something into that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play with this. I know I can make this pretty cool just the way it is. I mean, we can put a new front end on here. I have all the emulators on my computer, so I can easily just load those up. So maybe I'll do a setup video. So if anybody else gets theirs set up like mine is, I wonder if there's an Android update while we're here. If anybody else gets one in the shape that mine's in, then you can take a look and see if that's something you can do. And I apologize for moving around so much. It's like 4 in the morning. Yeah, it's 4 in the morning, and so I'm a little tired, and I just wanted to get this knocked out while the fam was sleeping. Here we go. I don't even know if this will allow me to do an update now that I think about it. We'll find out with it not being registered. I mean, they could update this with the front end and everything and fix it. As long as I don't put whatever the crap front end was that they had on this thing, because this thing was so locked down you couldn't do anything. I'm pretty sure this was running an Android TV version of Android. It wasn't actually running like a normal Android build, which I think was the problem on this as far as like some of the compatibility issues. So I would hope that because this has an Android build on it, they would stay with this, and maybe they can push us an update, or maybe they can't. I don't know. We'll find out. Well, it appears we're just going to be here forever if we keep waiting for the software update to check, because it's not doing anything. So let's just go over a couple of things. So some things I really like about this. The build quality on this is actually a lot better. This one's not bad, but like for a budget handheld, you're not seeing like an issue with separating seams anywhere on here, which I thought was kind of crazy. So that's really good. I like the idea of a dual boot system. That's something that Ambernick did a lot of. They haven't really done it recently, but they used to do a lot of Android and Linux cross builds. So you just do the same thing. You pull the memory card out, it would load into Android, you put the memory card back in, the Linux operating system's on the memory card. I think that's a really good way to do it. By the way, if you get one of these, make sure you back up this memory card immediately, because if you're pulling this cheap ass memory card in and out, it's not going to last very long. If you're going back and forth between the operating systems, especially just from the wear and tear of pulling it in and out, it's going to get real mad real quick. But yeah, having the ability to do that dual boot, the lights on here are cool. There is some bleed through on here, kind of sucks. I'm glad I don't have a clear one, because I think that would really suck, but it's still, you can see squares, which is a weird light layout to begin with, so I don't like the bleed through. I wish that there was a way to get rid of that, but you really can't. And then in some instances the screen seems to bleed, but I don't see it all the time. You would think that even on white, oh yeah, if you hold it at an angle you can see it. It's not like incapacitating, it's not like it's preventing me from playing. It'd be one thing if this was a more compact device and it was like right in your face. This is spread out enough where it's not like all you're seeing is light bleed, so it's not the worst. And I didn't notice it at all in games, so that would be where, you know, it really makes a big difference. I do like the idea of them actually putting a touchscreen on here now. I think that was a huge win, which I think is probably one of the biggest factors in the price increase. It was good to see that they took the time to do that. Android sucks if you don't have a touchscreen, so unless you do what they did here where they were running an Android TV build, because those are made to be used with the remote, which maybe is why they did that on that, but having a touchscreen on here is definitely an important go. It does seem like a much nicer screen too. I mean, other than that stupid maybe bleeding issue, and I could probably even fix that. I might have the screen turned all the way up and might be screwing myself on that, but I didn't actually changing those settings. So yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of things that I do like. Some of the quality stuff though, even though it does have like, it doesn't have the seams, which is good. You know, it feels like a quality build. The textures on it are really good too. I do like that there's a flake in the paint, which is really cool, which is really hard to pull off actually. If you ever paint anything, getting the flake right is actually pretty difficult, and keeping it smooth. So they did a good job there. I don't like these buttons are like all attached to each other, and then the fact that this is just a four-way conductive rubber pad, and yet it's still set up for like a 6 or 8-way. So I think anybody coming into this might get a little off-put because they're not going to see that coming. Also, it's crooked. So the outside of it, and this might be intentional, just to kind of keep your hand in play. I know some gamepads are crooked like this, so it's possible when you have these circular ones, but the outside edge is up higher than the inside edge. So maybe it's on purpose. What would make me think that maybe it's not is because this start button is flush, and this button is not. You can actually hit this one without even, like right there, I'm actually clicking the select button. This one doesn't do anything. I am noticing though that on the original, it's the same thing. This one's in further than this one. So really, I would assume that the SoC is pretty similar underneath here. So I'm gonna guess that they didn't make any adjustments to that between the two. I'm not really sold that these are Hall sticks. They might be. They both have the same amount of travel. I don't know that they upgraded these sticks at all. They look exactly the same, but Hall sticks you'd only see on the back end because obviously it's just magnets. I don't know. They could be some really crappy Hall sticks too. Not all Hall sticks are created equally. We'll play with it. We'll get another review up once, and maybe a how-to video on how to make this thing cool. I think that it'll work. We'll make something happen with it, and I'll get a video up as soon as I can. But if you have any questions, thoughts, comments, you know, all those things that you guys like to do, please leave them down in the comment section down below. And that's all I got for you today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video with your friends, because sharing helps grow the channel. And I'm exhausted over here. We'll add some more friends to the channel. Also, there's a couple videos up here on the screen that Google picked for you. And I obviously didn't, because I think I'm sleeping my way through this recording session. I'm probably going to have to redo the whole damn thing. I probably didn't even hit the record button. Who knows? We'll see. But that's all I got for today. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.